Welcome everyone today to the second part of our VR workshops for Resonance Cinema, which is funded by the grant of European Union. In the second part, we will talk more about VR cinema. Hi, I'm Žiga Pavlovič. I'm an interaction designer and I'm also creative lead for the Kiblatu Lab, which is a media laboratory from Maribor, Slovenia. There was a question before in the middle when we announced the event, which was also about what exactly in this context is VR cinema. I would say it's kind of with the new medium. You would say it also. It's a new way of watching movies, not only stereo or VR specific experiences, but also kind of normal, old school 2D kind of movies. So at the beginning, I will first talk a little bit about how we can watch, how we can experience, let's say, movies in a different settings with VR glasses, and then I will switch on to some media players where you can watch it also 360 or stereo video without the glasses. And after that, we'll move to some examples, good examples of the media, like VR movies and that were presented on movie festivals, specifically to do with XR, which to explain myself again, XR is the new term that is used as an umbrella term for VR, AR, and so VR, AR, and mixed reality settings. I'm still getting used to, but hi everyone. I see the mic is working well. So the presentation will go on for about 30 minutes. And after that, we'll have some time for questions and answers. So first, I will switch to the example of when we try or when we think about moving to VR. There was one example that was very useful. In the beginning, when the first headsets arrived, when Oculus Go arrived, which was only rotational based, not positional, so it was best used for watching movies or 360 video, and it was used a lot on travels. So you would go on a plane, you would put your headset on your face, you would be totally isolated, and then you would basically you could watch whatever you had on the headset until the battery ran out, which usually on Oculus took about an hour and a half, but then if you had a chance for a power bank, then you were good to go. But those were still mediums that were very standard ones, 2D. There, of course, there were then this kind of virtual rooms, which would then present the video on a kind of virtual wall that you would have a feeling that you're sitting in your room, and then watch a video on the wall. And here we have an example of for example, how it looks. So this is an app that came just a little bit after the boom of VR. It's called Big Screen, and here you can see here you can see it kind of looks like a 3D space. You see there, you can see avatars. It's even a social space, so you can join with your friends, kind of have a social experience of watching, which is also a benefit in these times because we have quarantine. So, you know, I'm not really selling you anything today, but if you have a chance, try it out. I mean, especially if you deal at these moments in some kind of I heard a nice saying 2 weeks ago. There was a VR conference, and on the keynote was said that we should stop talking about social distance, because really we are only meant to have physical distance because of the virus and how quickly it can go around. So it's about physical distance, but we should really talk about social closeness. So how to in these times have even more ways to feel connection. I mean, in a way that it's not just my voice, or you can see me through a camera. I have to remember to maintain eye level. So now I have a camera here. So if I look through it, it's a much better conversation. Although right now my phone is off, so I don't see anything. Let me check. Okay, great. So even the moment where we maintain eye level, it's a much better kind of connection that we can establish, even if it's right now just kind of me talking to the group of you watching. And this interaction, it's missing a lot today. Like even the eye contact, it's missing a lot today, because usually we have cameras on our notebooks, and we look at the screen because we have to look at something. It's easier to maintain connection, and which is right now lacking, because we don't really have a connection with the camera. But even a step forward, like even more than just eye contact, is to be able to have body communication, right? And this comes back to just to refresh on from the part 1 when we talked about social VR spaces. So what you see here is again kind of a social VR space where a group of people in their avatar form with hands and interaction and voice watch together a movie or a stream. So right now they have probably they watch some rocket launch, and so this is then continuing from the last years, from the last episodes, social VR spaces. And then we have to talk about so this is kind of a way to watch. You can think of it a VR cinema. There are also examples for not just for friends, but for like large groups of people to watch at the same time. Of course, you have to manage how people talk. So you can imagine this kind of opens the idea of sorry, I should probably remove the brand. Okay. So you can imagine that it brings new types of rules on how to then interact with the movie, right? Because I mean, you could have a party. You don't have to sit down. You could probably have a party while watching the movie. So again, this is a 2D. Now we can go and talk about the new type of medium, right? So with the VR, because you had rotation, it kind of bring about the new kind of format, which is a 360 video. This is kind of the standard one. The 360, where you basically capture with kind of a set of cameras around. And now the easiest the cheapest options for cameras are like this. So for example, this was the Samsung 360 camera, which came shortly after the first boom. It has two wide lens cameras, one on each side. And while you record the video, there is also software behind it that kind of connects the two video streams into a seamless format. And then when you project this into a sphere, you get the kind of that's why we call it 360. So it projects into a sphere, and then when you watch around, you see everything what was recorded all around. That is the most common medium, the kind of the easiest to start with if you want to try. YouTube supports videos like that. So for example, this is an experience. So what you see here, I am rotating the video, so I can watch around while the video is playing, basically. And so this is an option you can watch without the not the commercial though, which you can watch without the headset, but of course it makes much more it's much more immersive when you watch it in a headset. Another type of example is a stereo video, which I can't. It's kind of hard to show you on this format where we are in a stream in a 2D version. But basically, you can imagine that you have a camera like this. So let me find it. Okay, let's check this one. So this is an example. If you imagine that you have a camera that is like two eyes, right? You have then you are recording two sets of videos that have the distance that kind of simulates the distance between the eyes. These cameras today are kind of even more advanced because they offer both options. So a camera like this, which has multiple different lenses around it, you can then use a certain algorithm to kind of generate a stereo video, kind of just with kind of projection manipulation. You can then simulate a stereo video, and because it's all around, you can use it so together for 360 or stereo or 360 stereo. That's even more advanced. So you basically get all the benefits of 360 video, but make it stereo, which helps with the sense of immersiveness, because then the body really feels that you're part of that place. If we are at cameras, here you can see kind of the first example. Nokia Ozo was the first example of really high-end 360 camera. Kandai or Kandak is kind of the Chinese competitor that make really good models. And then through the years, so for example, on the top here, we see consumer level cameras from 360. Most of them are 360 versions, like GoPro Fusion. And this here was kind of the at the start when there was like trying to innovate, come up with a new concept. And what you see here is a series of 6 GoPros. You could even find examples of how to 3D print the enclosure. So I think even I did that, but I had an unfortunate situation where our faculty did have 6 GoPros, but only 3 were working, so no luck. But basically, you connect, you record with all the 6 GoPros at the same time, and then you would manually connect the videos together to create a 360 video, because at that times they were already developing software to stitch those videos together. And this here on the last part is an example of a modern, which is Insta360 camera, Insta360 Pro probably, which also has basically they go higher in resolution. They have much better algorithms for stitching, and they even include. I mean, it started with Nokia, which was also developing this kind of ambisonic microphone, which captured then the sound all around, and they are developing even more kind of stronger microphones for that. Here on the bottom, we also see kind of the early, I think this was the Google's idea of combining even more GoPros. But remember, this was before all the kind of custom, well, today I would say it custom, but now it's already designed and produced professionally. But this was also an example of, I think it's called Google Jump, which used a lot of GoPros to basically get the data to use the algorithms to stitch the video. And this is also, I think, the most recent example of Facebook's Surround 360, which is a set of cameras, but they can generate 360 stereo in a very high quality level. I mean, if we go even into more cinematic level, I don't have the picture here, but if you can imagine in this example, if you can imagine what is called red cameras, for professional filmmaking. If you imagine 6 red cameras in a kind of enclosure, so they each look outside. And then you can imagine that it's a huge construction, but it was used for getting this kind of high end video data for stitching then later on in post production. Yeah, that's I would stop here. Just give you a general overlook of the cameras, how they look. You probably mostly mostly look into these ones for kind of home production, and these are still the early examples. Now there are many more models on the market, and then we go into for example, and then we go into kind of players that then you can upload your experience. I already mentioned YouTube, which you can post 360 video and it will play. But then there are even more kind of extensive or even more interactable things you can do. So for example, one example, I'll give you 2. One is VR TV, which you can create not just kind of upload 360 video, but you can make virtual tours with it. So you can in a way set up a series of recordings or pictures, and then you can create a path through them. So this is very useful when you create kind of storytelling, or you want to create interactive storytelling. So you can basically set up paths. So maybe choose one way or choose the other way, and then you click on the button and it gives you in another direction. So you can use this for interactive storytelling. So this is weird TV. Another one is Deo VR, which is a Slovenian company. Very basically wants to become YouTube for VR, because YouTube has some support for 360, but not for all the modes, for example. So they of course do 3D mode, which means stereo, and when you get an example, it's it's pretty much, let me just give you like this. So you can imagine when you talk about, so for example, right here, when you see this black border, this just says that it was recorded in 180, or just kind of one side was used. Because most of the time, actually, when they experimented, they found out that people didn't really like to move around a lot. So most of the scenes are still kind of created now in kind of one direction. And there are also some more limitation, especially if you are creating for stereo. What you see here is a static camera. That's kind of the also thematic that I go into, kind of the formatting or scene creation. There was, when there were experimentation going on in creating these experiences for VR years ago, it was found out, of course, that if you move camera too much, like we talked in the previous section, in the previous part, you can get sick, because you have no control over your movement. And especially when you make a video, I mean, you can move your head, but the video kind of goes with you. So it's not, you can't really move in this scene. So it was then found out that it's best to have it static, especially if you record first person like here. So do not make a person sick even more. I mean, some people are so kind of how would say, so sensitive that they get sick even by watching a very fast fast or shaky camera movie. So this is one example then you can use to showcase your recordings. That's it. That's the cameras. And now it's a question of okay, where can I watch examples, right? What are the good examples? There was a lot of experimentation going on. What would be good, because it's a new medium and kind of new rules apply. So what would be good for an experience? And if you attend kind of big movie festivals like or art movie festivals like in Venice or Tribeca, you can find they have started making their own sections. It used to be called VR or 360. Now I think most of them are starting to use the term XR, because then it incorporates not just the VR movies but also immersive theater, which uses a lot of mixed reality or spatial AR, and so it doesn't limit itself to just one reality, one digital reality. So for example, so if you want to find out like what are good examples, right, you can watch the selection from Biennale from Venezia. Like it was the competition of 2020, yes. Some examples, and I'll just comment a little bit about what kind of techniques they used. So, but I can only talk about the pictures. So here we can probably see it's more about it's used for like 360 video. Here we have a more digital graphics, which then you use a program like Unity or Unreal Engine, which were used for video games, to create video games. But now they kind of expanded so much that are basically adopting the term of real-time. Authoring programs or software for real-time graphic renderings. Unreal, for example, is extensively used now for virtual production. One popular things which one popular kind of effect, which I will talk also later, is a kind of let's say morphing. Right here you can see the effect where you scan the actors. You can scan the scene to make it into a 3D model, and then you can manipulate this 3D model. It can flow apart. Basically you create a motion graphic out of it, and because it has a 3D effect, it has much more effect in VR because you are watching. You have the stereo perception, and you can fully experience this kind of effect. It can even go through you as a watcher. So basically, you're becoming part of this experience. 360. Here we have probably 3D animated. So 3D animation then becomes also very interesting for VR, because then you're not just watching, but you can be actually part of the scene. You are sitting there, you can watch around, and characters are moving around you. So you're not just a watcher, but you can become a participant, even though it's not interactive. I mean, you still watch, but you kind of feel you're part of the scene, even though you're not really changing anything, and everything is pre-animated. So here we have also 360 video, probably another animation, but you can also use animation techniques, 2D animation techniques. Just turn it into, so basically you project it into a equirectangular projection when you draw and animate, like with the 360 video. So you kind of now there are even programs that they can do this automatically. So you make an animation and then you modify it so it can be projected on a sphere. So basically you can make a 360 animation. So I think these are most of the kind of types that can be made. So this was Tribeca. No, this was Venezia. Tribeca, where is it? So also Cannes, the movie festival in Cannes has their own XR section. We had actually they had this year they had a hackathon, and a lot of the for kind of immersive media experiences, and a lot of examples were from immersive theater. So like how to combine theater with digital space. Okay. That's it. Another one is Tribeca, which probably here focuses more on 360 with the section Cinema 360. Yeah. as you can imagine, you can make much more kind of. There was a lot of talk of empathy, how to kind of engage viewers with empathy, exactly because you are not looking from outside, but you are becoming part of the scene. So basically you are put into that space, especially if it's made in, like, I love the stereo versions much more, because the body kind of just without thinking feels that it's part of the scene, and you get a much more visceral reactions. So that's about, I think, the kind of experience when you can get an idea what to watch. Where to watch, it's that's a different question. I think there are some examples that can be viewed, but it's different from each platform. That's one of the kind of a lot of VR platforms like the headset, Oculus, Vive, are closed. Especially Oculus is closed, so they have their own store. You can see basically. It's not like you can open everything, but if the experience are available on their platform, you can watch it. Except for things like for example, like Deo VR. So if you have an app, so Deo, I already closed it, but like I showed, VR TV and Deo VR they also have like their own apps on those platforms. So if you download the app, like on Oculus, so you have a selection of their own videos, but it's kind of tricky. You have to search it for on different players to see it, and some of them are not even showed to the public, but only on the festivals. Okay. I'm opening the questions. If anyone has a question right now, just write it in the chat. I'll look at it in a couple of seconds when it updates, and try to answer it. But in the meantime, I will also talk about a certain technique that we are also working on or starting, and maybe some of you that are watching this have already tried, which is volumetric recording, filmmaking, where you add a depth information to the video you are shooting. So imagine you are shooting a video with a camera or a photo camera, and if you just cut an actor out, like mask it, and place it in a VR setting. So we are not talking about 360. We are talking about kind of let's say I'm working on a interactive scene in this game engine where I can walk around. And even if I record an actor and place him just like that, it's flat. It's like a 2D picture, right? You position it. If you walk around it, it looks like a paper at some point. So it's not working. One of the kind of tricks to do it is that it always faces you, like it always faces the player or the one going around the experience. But it's kind of unnatural, right? Because like it's talking, but you are walking around, and it's always let's say if I'm walking around, but it's always facing me, right? It's kind of unnatural. I mean, I guess it works. It works for an example like South Park, where they used they also recreated kind of South Park City in VR, where they used all the characters were kind of this paper paper characters, and but they were also always facing you, so you couldn't see the kind of flat part. But when you're making a more let's say high production, or you want to make a fixed scene because the character are probably sitting somewhere, so they can't really rotate on a chair, it would look even more unnatural. Well, what you do is you can add a depth information, so you can modify, you then project this video recording onto a mesh, so it's onto a 3D model. And what you do is you use a scanner like this, which is Kinect, it's kind of called RGB D camera. So it doesn't just record RGB, so the color, but it also has infrared camera and certain algorithms that then they can scan and recognize the 3D space. This has become much more advanced in the recent years. So Kinect is already like five years old, right? So if I show you the camera, this thing is huge. So you can imagine this sensor, not the same technology, but kind of the same purpose, is now being used in the new iPad Pro. So iPad Pro and iPhone 12 Pro. So you can use the LiDAR scanner also to kind of 3D scan and use it to kind of get the shapes or animation. So basically, it's called mocap, face mocap. So you can animate your 3D character just by having an iPhone in front of you. So you make a 3D model. You kind of set up the morphs. And then you have an app on iPhone, you have it in front of you, and then you can animate live like a 3D character. You can animate the face. So, but in this section for volumetric filmmaking, you use so also set up like this. Let me to give you a whole picture. So what you see right here is the new version of Kinect, Azure. And you record with your camera, and then at the same time, you also record the depth information with Kinect. And when you combine it together, so you use, for example, this is the software depth kit. It's been developed a lot. I like it. I actually like it a lot. So what it does is then combine.
I don't even
combine. So for example, what you see here is a scene for like a 3D scene, and these characters are then recorded as 3D models, basically with animated mesh. You can, of course, put them through a different effect, like, so what I called here was the kind of particle effect where you can use the mesh and kind of do motion graphics with it. Of course, one limitation is that because we are using only one sensor, you can only do it from one side. So, but you can use multiple sensors at the same time to then record the person from all sides. So this would be example from the company like Tetavi, which this kind of technology is quite, I wouldn't say new, but it's been so developed, so it's kind of went to the level that it's useful just recently. So for example, here we have a model of, let's say, if it does show you. So this, for example, it's how it looks. Is that better? No. nope. So, for example, you record an actor in a studio surrounded with multiple sensors. What you see here on the phone is a 3D model, which you can animated 3D model, which you can then place it anywhere, use it in your own scene, use it in your own, if you make an immersive scene. So you get quite realistic textures, I would say. You don't have to then create a 3D model of a person by hand. So it's very useful for getting quick assets of like real actors specifically. Okay. Okay. I would stop here. There's a last chance for questions. I see still from the beginning. It's like, yeah. Thank you a lot, Svetli 24. And I'm grateful it's working. So, as you see, because of the situation with the quarantine, useful thing is a good microphone. That's helps a lot with presenting online. But just let me think if I missed something. Yes. Well, at this moment, then I would like to finish with a how would I call it? A question for you. When I'm recording this right now, we are in the midst of the second wave. There are huge basically most of Europe at this point is closed down. It will probably go on until Christmas. Maybe it will open up. Probably it will open up for Christmas, so we get to see our families. Most probably will close down again until until the vaccine arrives and we kind of or we kind of get it under control, so we don't have our hospitals so overcrowded. But the situation is like this, that it will probably go on for some time, and we are still then mostly at home. And there is a challenge for you, which is it's not nothing hard, but think about yourself at least one way. What would you come up like? What would you change in this situation, or even your what you're doing or what your job is to make it a better social experience, but of course this time a digital social experience, because we are faced with physical distance, but then it's not a time to mourn the lack of it, but it's also a time to come up with new ways, and that is the situation which is most called for, because we realize where what pains us even more, and it also gives us motivation to find out how to overcome it. So whatever you can, however you can, connect with your family, connect with your friends, talk to them, call them, not just chat. Chat is not enough today, but have some exchange that you can basically that is more than chat, right? And if you have VR headsets, then you can experience some social VR in this time. But at this moment, I would say that just keep on. Thank you very much.